Well, g'day everyone, welcome back to another Bush Creek fly tying tutorial. So in this video what we're going to be tying up is this. So this is the TP Grub. TP is Tuft of Possum, and we'll talk about that as we get going. It's a pretty straightforward and fairly easy sort of pattern to tie. Think of it a little bit, if you like, as it maybe like a reverse Perdigon, so to speak. It's been pretty productive for me. It's even been very productive. Did a season, or not so much a season, a month in the UK, and caught plenty of bloody grayling and trout on this fly. So without too much, we'll get back into it. So the hook I'm using is a Dahuku 644 in size 16, and to that I've added a 2.5mm countersunk bead. This one's in gold, the other one was in copper, and you can go down to say 2. This size hook you wouldn't go too much bigger than 2.5, but nice little pattern. So to start with, what I'm going to do is back the bead off to the back, come in with a really fine thread. You do need a really fine thread. I'm using nano silk here, and I'm going to catch in that nano silk with a few turns and then trim away the waste. So from here, what I'm going to add in is some possum. So I've just got a bit of possum flank here. It's dyed brown olive, and I'm just going to pull away some fibres on that, and then you got to sort of fiddle around and draw out the really long straggly ones. Now the tuft of possum's only going to be sort of no more than 5mm, so you don't need really long straggly ones. So I'm just pinching out these really long straggly ones, and then I'm just going to roll that up so it's a bit firm, and then catch that in directly behind the eye, a couple of turns, and then drag that down. There's a couple of long strays there. There we go. Drag that down so it's about the right length. It's about 4 or 5mm, and then I'm just going to catch that in with a few turns, trim away the butt piece, and then come in with my whip finisher and basically whip finish that nano silk and trim that away. So from here, what I'm going to do is bring the bead up and bring it over the top of the possum and up into behind the eye, so that the possum will sit out the front of the bead. Out the front of the bead, but out over the top of the eye. So once we've got that in place, come in with some overlocker thread and catch in behind the bead. And then basically from here, what we're going to do is build up a tapered body using the overlocker thread, and colour it up, and that's really sort of about it. So there's nothing too much to tell with this one, other than sort of making your taper relatively nice, and remembering that you're going to have to tie off behind the bead, so you don't want too much immediately behind the bead from the very get-go. So if I come down now, last turn, I'm making sure that I'm getting some fairly nice flat wraps, and bring the overlocker thread down and around, and then bring it off. So I've got about 100mm, 4 inches of thread. So the colours I'm using for this is, first one is green yellow. These are Copic markers. Alright, and I'm going to come in and go underneath the body, all that body, with the yellowy green. Colour that all up. Once I've done that, grab my dubbing needle or pin, and I'm going to flatten out the thread, and you'll see that because I've coloured up the body, the ink has made the thread go tacky towards the butt here, so I can back it off and nothing unravels. So that's a little tip there as you go. And I'm going to go a 50-50 split of the thread, pretty much somewhere in there, 2 strands. So the next colour I'm using is Caledonian green, again a Copic marker, and I'm going to cover this forward facing or front leg with Caledonian green. Colour that up, and then the next colour I'm going to use is chamois, and come in here and do the other leg. Now obviously you can play around with the colours all you like and work out what works for you, and I do actually have a a number of this pattern in various colours, but for today we're doing a green one. And then from here, basically, I'm just going to let the air off a bit and dry out a little bit, and then draw those two strands back together again. And then from here, just in open turns, come back up to the bead, and just before I tighten up or whip finish, I'll just twist those fibres back together again, and then two-turn whip finish here. Now when this material has ink on it, it gets really bitey. You can hear it as you tighten up, so you don't need any more than 2 turns, and you're going to UV resin this thing anyway, so so nice and tight, nice and firm, and then come in and trim away this thread as close as you can to the body, so you don't get a little protrusion. And then from here, it's basically in with the UV resin, and I'm just using some bone dry here, and colour it out. Now, sometimes it's better to let this dry, the ink dry, before you coat it. Otherwise you can get a lot of bleed into the colour. The colours start to bleed together, but for the purposes of the video, I'll get it done on screen. But basically we're just coating the body up so it's nice and tidy. Lid back on that and give it a shot with the UV. And that's us done. TP Grub, Tuft to Possum. Really, really productive pattern actually. You'd be surprised exactly how productive this pattern can be. And pretty easy to tie. You can smack out a lot of them. It's as fast as tying a Perdigon really. And yeah, just something a little bit different. Anyway, if you try it and it works for you, let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Tie lines.